Around 1900 BCE, an entire civilization vanished and took its language with it. 5 million people, 4,000 artifacts, 400 undeciphered symbols. No one has read a single sentence in 150 years. 5 million people lived in silence, or so we thought. Around 2600 BCE, across what is now Pakistan and northwest India, a civilization erupted into being that rivaled Egypt and Mesopotamia in scale, sophistication, and mystery. The Indus Valley Civilization spread across 1.5 million square kilometers, larger than modern-day France. Its two greatest cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, housed populations of 40,000 or more each. Yet almost nothing about what they believed, worshipped, or governed survives in any language we can read. Archaeologists have excavated over 4,000 artifacts bearing script, clay seals no bigger than a thumbnail, pottery shards, copper tablets, stone weights. The symbols number between 400 and 600, far fewer than alphabets like ours, but far more than simple pictographs. They appear everywhere in the ruins, on merchant seals, on standard weights used for trade, on objects buried in homes. Someone was writing. Someone was recording. But what? The civilization thrived for 7 centuries. Trade networks connected it to Mesopotamia and the Persian Gulf. Cities were planned with drainage systems, granaries, and public baths, engineering that suggests central authority, bureaucracy, record-keeping. The script was clearly functional. It was used. It mattered. And then, around 1900 BCE, it stopped. The cities were abandoned. The script was forgotten. The population dispersed into the Gangetic Plains, taking the meaning of every symbol with them into extinction. For 150 years, scholars have possessed thousands of these artifacts. For 150 years, not one complete sentence has been deciphered. But the real question isn't why we can't read it, it's what happened to the civilization that wrote it. Around 2200 BCE, something began to break. Not suddenly, slowly. The Indus Valley Civilization, stretching across what is now Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan, had thrived for 400 years in perfect administrative order. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa housed 5 million people in grid-plan streets, with standardized weights, measures, and seals bearing that same inscrutable script. Then the rains stopped coming. Climate records tell us what happened next. Between 2200 and 1900 BCE, the monsoon patterns shifted. Pollen cores from the Rajasthan region show a catastrophic drying. The Indus River, which had sustained the civilization's agriculture and trade networks, began to change course, a geological process that took decades but was utterly inexorable. Without water, you cannot feed a city. Without cities, you cannot maintain administration. The unified system that had kept the script in use began to fracture. Archaeologists see the cracks in the record itself. After 1900 BCE, the standardized seals disappear. The planned cities empty. The script, which had been used to tag goods, record transactions, mark ownership, was suddenly not needed anymore. There was nothing left to administer. No one to write for. But here is what troubles historians most. The script did not evolve. It did not simplify or transform into something new, the way Latin became Romance languages. It did not scatter across regions in variant forms. It simply stopped. Completely. As if the moment the civilization collapsed, the knowledge of how to read and write, it evaporated with it. No bilingual text survived. No transition period. No bridge to another language. When the Indo-Aryans arrived in the subcontinent around 1500 BCE, the Indus script was already gone, a memory erased. And they brought their own language. their own writing. What remained were only the artifacts themselves, silent witnesses to an entire civilization's words forever locked away. Around 1900 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization did not end with a bang. It dissolved into silence. The great cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, which had thrived for nearly 700 years across 1.5 million square kilometers, began to empty. Trade networks collapsed. The standardized seals stopped being made. By 1500 BCE, the script had vanished from daily use entirely. Archaeologists have identified the likely culprits: climate catastrophe and resource failure. Between 2200 and 1900 BCE, the monsoon patterns that sustained the civilization shifted dramatically, a change recorded in ice cores and ocean sediments. The Indus River, which had been the civilization's lifeline, altered its course. Forests shrank. Agricultural yields plummeted. A population of 5 million could not be sustained. Some settlements persisted in smaller forms, particularly in Gujarat and Rajasthan, but they left behind no written records. The script, those 400 to 600 symbols that had documented everything from taxation to ritual, simply stopped. No transition period. No degradation. No attempt at reform or adaptation that archaeologists have found. It was as though the act of writing itself had become irrelevant to survival. By 1200 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization as a unified entity had ceased to exist. The people did not disappear. They dispersed, migrated, merged with incoming populations. But their writing system died with the civilization that created it. No one who came after them could read what had been written. No one tried to preserve it. The script became orphaned, cut off from any living memory or tradition. Yet scattered through the archaeological layers, in later settlements, in marginal deposits, in contexts that don't quite fit, are small objects that suggest someone, somewhere, had not entirely forgotten. A civilization of 5 million people left behind nothing but silence. Around 1900 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization collapsed. The cities emptied. The seals stopped being made. The script, suddenly, completely, was never written again. No gradual decline. No evolution into another language. Just absence. For nearly 4,000 years, the symbols lay dormant in the earth, waiting to be found and read by people who would fail. The first major excavations began in the 1920s, when British archaeologist Sir John Marshall uncovered Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Thousands of artifacts emerged, each one a promise. Surely this seal, this pottery shard, this weight would unlock meaning. It didn't. By 1960, archaeologist Mortimer Wheeler had examined the sites thoroughly. His conclusion was stark: we have no key, no bilingual text, no translation guide, no ancestor language to compare. The script died with the civilization that created it. What followed was a century of desperate scrambling. Linguists proposed Sanskrit connections. Cryptographers applied frequency analysis. In 2009, Finnish scholar Asko Parpola published a 900-page decipherment attempt, methodical, scholarly, and fundamentally unverifiable. In 2021, artificial intelligence teams at Meta and Microsoft ran the symbols through machine learning systems trained on known languages. The algorithms found patterns, tantalizing echoes, but no consensus. No proof. The script remained locked. The knowledge sealed inside it: administrative records, religious texts, personal names, commerce, remained forbidden. What did they value? What did they fear? What did they believe? We will never know. Yet in 1962, archaeologists discovered something extraordinary: a single Indus Valley seal placed deliberately in a grave near the Ganges Valley, buried with the dead 2 millennia after the civilization fell. That seal from 1962 was a message no one could read, and it remains today the most concrete evidence we have, not of what the Indus Valley Civilization said, but that they existed that 5 million people organized themselves across 5 million square kilometers, wrote their laws and ledgers and names on clay and stone, and then vanished so completely that their own language became a locked room. What remains, 150 years after first discovery, is surprisingly little and surprisingly much. The British archaeologist John Marshall catalogued over 2,000 seals between 1920 and 1934. Today, across museums in Karachi, Delhi, and London, we possess roughly 4,000 artifacts bearing Indus script. The symbols are consistent. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. But the meaning, still absent. We know some things. We know the civilization fell around 1900 BCE. Climate records show monsoon failure. We know the Saraswati River dried. We know populations migrated east toward the Ganges. We know from archaeologist Vasant Shin's 2016 excavations at Rakhigarhi in Haryana that genetic material from Indus Valley skeletons matches modern South Asian populations. They did not vanish. Their language did. AI systems trained on machine learning, most recently in 2020 by researchers at the University of Cambridge, have analyzed statistical patterns in the script. They found it behaves differently than known languages. Some argue it encodes non-linguistic information, administrative codes, perhaps, merchant marks, not words at all. If they are right, we are searching for meaning in a system designed never to mean anything we would recognize. If they are wrong, we are simply not yet clever enough. Between those two possibilities, between total cipher and incomplete decryption, lies everything we have forgotten about an entire civilization. Yet one object, discovered in 2014 in Gujarat, suggested something impossible: a seal bearing Indus script, and beside it, marks that resembled later writing systems. The Indus Valley Script remains humanity's greatest linguistic mystery, a window into an advanced society permanently sealed shut. Another file is already open. Subscribe to the archive to explore the world's most unsolved mysteries.